What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Week 10 edition of Fantasy Factor. And look at us, Matt. We finally hit the big time. We got new chairs, very nice ones, I might add, much more comfortable. So now, Matt, before we get to our regularly scheduled program, I believe you have an important update to give us.
Yeah. Well, guys, I lost. I'm getting pretty annoyed at fantasy football this year. Nothing seems to be going my way. I lost to Sean McAvoy, the big matchup. And I'm really not trying to pull any excuses here. I'm just trying to give you some examples of how I mean. Aaron Rodgers is out. I tried to pick up Kirk Cousins and Jalen Hurts off of waivers, both of whom had amazing weeks, by the way, but were taken by other teams higher in the draft order than me. So I had to settle for Jordan Love, who got under 12 points in his first ever start. Ezekiel Elliott, who I spoke about a few weeks ago as my MVP, had two pretty below average weeks the past 2 weeks, getting his second and third least points of the season over the last 2 weeks. Tyreek Hill got me 7 points when he was projected to get 20. All other players played pretty well, honestly, including Renfro and Ingram, who I had to play because Mike Evans and TJ Hawkinson were on a bye. I'm sorry for the rant here, Mike. Mason Crosby also missed 2 field goals, getting me negative points. Like, isn't kicking, like, your job? But whatever. I mean, it's just an unfortunate week.
So now with that out of the way, let's move on to our start and sit picks of the week. Matt, why don't you get us started?
My start of the week this week is going to be Devin Singletary, the Buffalo Bills. While he splits time with Zach Moss in the backfield, Singletary gets more of the passing work between the two. With a matchup against the Jets this week and an absolute atrocious loss to the Jaguars last week by the Bills, I have no doubt that Buffalo will bounce back and annihilate their division rival in the Jets this week, and Singletary will hopefully be a big part of it.
So my start of the week is Cleveland Browns running back Dearness Johnson, who's expected to start this upcoming weekend with Chubb and Felton out due to COVID and Kareem Hunt still on the IR. Johnson made the most of his first career start 3 weeks ago on Thursday night against Denver, running for 146 yards on 22 carries and a touchdown. While Mayfield looked good last week in the 41-16 domination of the Bengals, the Browns and Mayfield will need assistance from the run game in order to squeak out a win against a well-coached New England team.
So my sit of the week is DeAndre Swift for the Detroit Lions. So far, he's had a great season, but I don't think that Detroit will do a whole lot of damage against a pretty solid Pittsburgh defense this week, I guess. Hopefully they can do something because, to be honest, I'm beginning to root for them a bit just because they're coaching and kind of their staff, I guess. I don't know. But I don't see the offense doing much against the Steelers this week, and Swift is no exception, in my opinion. Don't forget, I'm just a junior in college, so I always say whatever I say could always be wrong, but clearly you're still here watching the show, so that's my take.
And then on to my sit of the week, who is Vikings receiver Adam Thielen. Yes, he has scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks, but going up against a strong Chargers team who has allowed the second fewest points to receivers this season, I expect him to struggle. He only has topped 100 yards once this season. That was against a pre-Stephon Gilmore Panthers. Additionally, I expect his fellow receiver Justin Jefferson to continue to get majority of the targets as he continues to develop into a star receiver.
Now let's move on into our pick'em game of the week, the Cleveland Browns versus the New England Patriots. As you can see, and as you probably gathered from your tireless dedication towards watching Fantasy Factor over the years, Mike is a Browns fan, and I'm a Patriots fan. This is a big game, and honestly, while trying to stay as unbiased as possible with a Mac Jones jersey on, I think the Patriots are on a roll and will take this game in a very, very close matchup. Before this, I wasn't sure, but Kareem Hunt is out, and Nick Chubb will probably end up being a game-time decision at best with COVID right now. If Chubb plays that game, it will be off from a week. He will be off of a week with no practice and coming off of COVID. If he is out for this matchup, the Browns' third-string running back, like Mike mentioned earlier, will take the helm for the running game, and I don't know how that will be, I guess. Patriots have, knock on wood, been playing pretty good recently, especially the defense, so I hope they can keep it up, beat the Browns this week, and tighten that AFC East race a little bit more.
So, Matt, ever since the last time the Pats beat the Browns, which was our freshman year of college, I've been patiently waiting for this game. For those of you who don't remember, the Browns lost that game in Foxborough 27-13. Well, that score is not bad, especially since it was before the time of our savior, Kevin Stefanski. The game was a lot closer than the score suggests. The Browns turned the ball over 3 consecutive plays, including a Nick Chubb fumble on, I believe, like a 65-yard run. He doesn't fumble very often. And this was also a sophomore regression season for Baker Mayfield, who is obviously struggling due to a lack of offensive scheme. This time around, I expect the Browns to show they're the true contender we thought them to be at the beginning of the season. I understand that Hunt and Chubb are out this week, but as we saw against the Broncos, Johnson's not too shabby. He held his own, and he got the Browns a much-needed win. And additionally, I expect Baker to continue to benefit from no longer feeling obligated to force-feed the ball to Odell. As we saw last week against the Bengals, Baker excels when he's able to spread the ball around. I'm also looking for Donovan Peoples-Jones to continue to step up this season as he's now the clear number 2 receiver. As long as they minimize turnovers, I got the Browns in a nail-biter, perhaps a game-winning field goal.
I'll say I'm not entirely confident the Patriots will win this game, I'll say, because you make some good points there. However, I think the Patriots have the defensive talent and grit that teams love to have, as well as better coaching, I'd argue. Nothing against Stefanski, obviously. He definitely turned the Browns around. Mac Jones, as well, whether he throws short throws or not, is solid enough to help get some points on the board, hopefully as well. I'm just excited for Sunday.
So to keep things short after my rant there, I really think the key to this game is turnovers, specifically on the Browns side. If they can win the turnover battle, I believe they win this game, but obviously we'll see. And so for those of our viewers out there who tune in weekly, you might recall earlier in the season when I said the bench Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins because I expected Jamar Chase to begin to get more of the looks from Burrow as they rekindled their LSU connection. It turns out I was right about this one, as Chase has looked incredible, even drawing comparisons to Randy Moss so far, which is, if you're a promising young wide receiver, is very elite company. I don't see him being an all-time great. I do expect him to be a player that teams have to game plan for week in and week out. Matt?
Mike, Jamar Chase is going absolutely off this year. That's not up for debate, I'd say. I think the question here is, does he have the potential to stay as dominant as he is right now for his entire career? I think he's got Offensive Rookie of the Year on lock.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he'll calm down and become a fairly average wide receiver for the Bengals. I don't see him being a Hall of Famer, I guess. With monsters like DK Metcalf out there pushing the future of the league and wide receivers even further ahead, I just don't see Chase being one of the top guys in the league. Cornerbacks will eventually figure the Bengals offense out and start to realize that the weak O-line that the Bengals have and use that against them as well. I just don't see Jamar Chase being a franchise star for years to come. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for Fantasy Factor today. Thank you for watching as always. I'm Matt, he's Mike. We'll see you next time.